Hello, it is so good to have you here. Today I really wanted to be talking about the importance of the stories that we tell ourselves and actually how they can change the reality that we're living in. And I want to give you a bit of an exercise that will help you actually deconstruct some of the stories that you're telling yourself as well and understand if they're actually based on truth or if they're not at all. I also have a personal story to share with you as well that you will probably laugh at, and it's actually really important and highlights how we can absorb the stories in our life that just aren't true. If this is the first time that you're coming across my content, it is so good to have you here. My name is Gemma Lonsdale. I am a life coach and psychic medium, and I am here to help you create a life that you love and really step into your own personal power. Now, the exercise that I'm going to share with you and this information really, it's all part of my Align and Thrive group coaching program. And the reason that I wanted to share it with you is that it has such a profound impact on our day to day. And I just think that it's content that you need to be aware of. It's something that you need to have. So I have decided to share just this one little snippet with you. Now, whenever we talk about the stories that we tell ourselves, one of them could be the story, and I'm sure that some of you will have told yourselves this, that, oh, I only have to sniff or look at a slice of chocolate cake or a bar of chocolate or whatever it might be, and I've gained 2 pounds. How often do we say things like that? Or, oh, I really struggle to lose weight. Or things like, oh, I'm not good enough for that promotion. I'm not good enough for that job. I'm not good enough to do this. Or I would love to be rich and famous, but things like that just don't happen to people like me. How often do we talk to ourselves in that way? Whenever we are actually saying stories like that and we are saying things like that to ourselves, we're talking that into our reality. Now, if you don't believe in manifestation or anything like that, that's fine, you don't have to. But the reality is that whenever we are talking bad about ourselves and we don't see our own value and we don't think that we're valuable enough for something, then the likelihood is that the person that we sit in front of or the people that are around us are going to believe the exact same thing as we do. Now, if you, like me, and you have been in the corporate world and you have, or even in other positions, and you're really feeling to yourself like you're not being seen for your true value, that you could be doing so much more, but your boss or the people around you just don't see the potential within you, then chances are there are a lot of stories that you were telling yourself that just aren't true. And in order for you to really break out of that pattern, it's really important that we start to become aware of the stories that we tell ourselves. Before I get on to the exercise, I want to share with you a personal story from my journey. Now, my grandmother, Catherine, God rest her soul, she is my spirit guide, and she often in the past has come through to talk to people on, the behalf of a higher realm and bring them all sorts of wisdom and guidance through, which is wonderful. And I'm so privileged and pleased that I've been able to cultivate this connection with her once she passed on. She used to always tell me that I was really tall. Okay, she used to always comment about, you're so tall for a girl, you're really, really tall. So I went through practically my whole life thinking that I was tall. Now, I was in a job, it was probably, I think, in my mid to late 20s, and I had been talking about this. I don't know how it even came into the conversation, but I can just remember one of my colleagues laughing, and he was like, Gemma, you're tall, like where have you got this from? And I was like, well, my grandmother always used to tell me that I was tall. Now, I'm 5'5". Okay, so as it goes, as a woman, I'm really not that tall at all. In fact, I think I might be below the average height for a woman. So everybody in the office thought this was absolutely hilarious. But my grandmother was only 5'2". So to her, from her perspective and from where she was in life, I was really tall because I was taller than her. And it's really important that, first of all, we are aware of the stories that others tell us and how well we absorb them into our lives. But it's also important to be aware that actually the perception of the people around us and the perception of the person who we have heard something from that we have adopted it's actually super important that we are aware that perception matters. You know, their perspective is really going to impact the story that they tell and the story that they believe. And then if we believe it and we absorb their truth, then we have to question, okay, well, is it actually true for us or is it not? So with that in mind, the exercise that I really want you to think of here is, what is the story that you tell yourself, or what is one of the stories that you tell yourselves? Okay, so write that down. What is one of the stories that I tell myself? And I want you to actually consider where that's from. You know, where did you start to believe this from? Or was it somebody said something to you? Was it something that you've maybe experienced throughout your childhood? And actually question whether it's true or not. Now, I could share with you so many different stories about that and how my path has been really impacted by the things that I have believed from other people. Whenever we start to question, because it is a process of deconstruction, I talk a lot about an onion layer. Whenever we have an onion and we're peeling back the layers, there's always something else that has to come. Like, we think we've done the work, we've done something, we've shed a skin, and then all of a sudden we think we're done, and then it's like, oh, there's something else there. So this is a bit of a journey that you'll probably go on over a prolonged period of time. But whenever we start to think of the stories that we believe, not just about us, but about the world that we live in, it becomes, I guess, a bit of a transformation for us to think that, you know what, the stories that I'm believing in maybe aren't what is true at all. Whenever we think of, well, we have to work a 9-to-5 job, it's, you know, having a good career is important. Having a good education is really important in order for us to have a successful career. You know, all of these things, are they true? What evidence do you have in your life that has proven to you that those are true? Or are those just beliefs or social constructs that you have bought into throughout your time? So I don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole, but focus on actually looking at the stories that you have believed in your life. What are the stories that you tell yourself? And try to understand where they're from, because it could be a process of you deconstructing all of those beliefs that you have absorbed and reframing your thinking. But once you become aware of it, it's actually easier to do, and it will take time. I really want to encourage you to be aware of that. This isn't something that you can necessarily change overnight, because you are shedding a whole lifetime of conditioning. But whenever you become aware of it, that is power. Knowledge is power, and you can start to strip them all away and transform your life. And that is what I'm here to do, to help you to transform your life. Now, if you want to work with me more closely, I would love to have you. First of all, subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to like this video, comment. I will always try to come back to comments as quickly as possible. If you feel this is relevant and helpful for someone else, share it out as well. Share the knowledge. And there are other ways that you can work with me. Like, I have my my podcast I archive, The Happy Psychic, so you can check that out. And I'll also pin the link below where you can get all of my information, access my website, everything else, my Substack writing, and all of the course programs that I have available as well will be in that link. So you can check those out and see if there's other ways that you can work with me. If you have any content suggestions as well, or you have any suggestions of different programs that I could run, or different ideas on what I could be doing in order to reach people, comment that as well. You don't need to leave any information. It can be completely anonymous, and I would love to hear your suggestions. Okay, you can also follow me on TikTok and Instagram for more content, and I would love to have you over there as well. Okay, so I hope that that has helped you. Do that exercise and start to question everything. Start to question everything in your life and every belief that you have, and slowly but surely they will all come away.